welcome to my channel. So I'm just having an organise and I thought I'd let you see what it is that I'm up to. So I'm just going to move the cup out of the way. So I have picked up a few of these tubs from Hobbycraft. Okay, so these tubs are £4 each for the art bin tubs. And I'm trying to get my collection / my kits organised. So what I've done for all the collections is I've just popped a label on the front saying what they are, and then inside you see it's just tipped up a bit, but it's still all here. So inside I have the papers on the bottom in their own separate baggies so that they can sit flat. And then I've gone through the stuff, and apart from these brag cards which seem to float about, I've gone through everything and either repackaged them up into my thicker storage if they'll go, or I've just taken them out of the packaging, because these will just float about out the packaging. They're not threatening to all fall off. I mean, even these ones I've used, there's still a clear backing behind them, so they're not going to pop out the back or anything. I've then made sure that all my ephemera etc is all packaged up in my storage, so that when I have, you know, well used this collection, it can all go away. I've also got my 6x6 pads in there, and I've just packaged up my new purchases if you've seen that video. So there tends to be about 2 collections per box, apart from I think crate paper. So I may try and get this round, but you can see I've got simple stories there. Let's have a look. Crate paper, I have got 3 in it. So in the crate paper I do have 3 lots of paper because I didn't have that many embellishments for a lot of them. So I've got Cute Girl, Cool Kid and Snow and Cocoa. Now I may end up changing this to have a Christmas box, but at the minute we're going to see how this works when I'm creating before I make any huge decisions. So Cute Girl, I have the stickers, which are the thickers, which have been repackaged. I've got the wood, which I've stapled to the packaging and got rid of the outer sheet. And then I've got the die cuts ephemera. The Boys Rule, all I have is the thickers and some papers. And Snow and Cocoa, all I have is the ephemera and some papers. So it works quite well with that. So that's sort of the tubs I've got so far. I've tried to keep all of them by manufacturer. So Simple Stories has got 2 that I've got collections of, rather than just the 6x6 paper pad. Pink Paisley, I've got here, we've got the Take Me Away and the Oh My Heart, because I've been to both of her events that she did with Birds of a Feather. I've still got the bits, like the wood veneer, I've popped into one of these baggies as well. I've got the others just repackaged up. And I've even left the alphabets in with them, especially with them being colourful ones. I don't know how much I'd use them for anything else. So all my collections have been done, and then apart from my Kaiser ones, but my main collections otherwise. Okay, sorry about that, slight interruption from the household. So the next thing I'm doing is I have 1 box left, and I have gazillions of kits. So what I've done is I've just popped on the front a little label saying Felicity Jane kit and Like Forever kits. And then I'm just going through, excuse the noise, and with the likes of the Felicity Jane kit, I've taken the washi out of its packaging. I've pinned the alphabet. I've also pinned the puffy stickers, just to try and flatten things out a little bit. I'm still thinking I need to actually do these as well, because the more space I can get in this box, the better. So what I thought I'd do is do a few with you, or at least a kit or 2, to show you the whole process for those that do prefer the visual. So I'm just going to get these little rubber charms out of here, because you tend to find, even though this part is part of the packaging, there's a whole part here that just gives you a whole layer. I don't know if you can see that, but it gives you a whole layer that you don't need. So while I have all of these CD DVD sleeves that I got for my ephemera, they can actually hold some of these as well. And the packaging fits in, which is quite cute, and that just flattens those out a little bit, makes it so I can still see them, and just a little bit of tape and that will go in there. So that's the Felicity Jane kit and one of my rogue hairs. I have my hair down at the moment, which means I shed. Down into a more compact, but I'm keeping these in the bags. That is because otherwise I'll forget what's in each kit. So I've just done the January Like Forever kit, repackaged the thickers, taken the washi out of this packaging so it'll go a little bit flatter. And then, because that tends to congeal at the bottom, when I pop it in the box, I'm going to pop it the opposite way round to the Felicity Jane. And I'm going to see how many I can get in here. So this is the next one. And this is now the February kit. The sketch inspiration stays there. Plus that also tells me what kit it is. And then the main thing I do is things like take these little dots out and use my tiny attacher just to attach them to the packaging. I've then got these stickers and my alphabet storage should be up by now for you to all see. Sorry, there is so much stuff on my desk at the moment. And these are these 6x12 sweetie bags, but have a look in my scrap room. That's also got all my scrap room playlist. Apologies, that's got can't get my words out. That's got all my different types of storage that I've either had for a while. I needed some more bags in regards to the alphabets, just needed a bit of a tidy up. And then it's also got my new ephemera type storage, of which a lot of my ephemera storage is still in with the collections or in with the kits, but they will eventually, once they've been used up a bit, go into my general ephemera. So that's the alphabets done. Then we have some poppy stickers, which again will just be like the enamel dots. Easy access, quick to get to. And this doesn't stop how I store them when I break anything down. So I'm not altering any of that. And then we've got Dear Lizzie, Lovely Day, which the thing with kits is I do find that I may end up using all of the ephemera pieces and not actually need this storage at the end of it. That is the only thing that's a bit but what am I going to lose? A label? And that's it. So I'm going to get these opened up too and get in them and get all, see, you need to rip them off. Open up from the bottom. Oh well. So we'll get all these into the little packaging, which it doesn't stay in when it goes in my kit box, because I do like to rummage through, but it would do if I broke up any of my kits or anything like that. So that's all that ephemera in there, and we'll pop a little bit of tape on there and get rid of the packaging and the label bits. Can't even use my little bin at the moment. I just have a huge mess at the bottom. And then we've got these tickets, which again, beautiful packaging, but what do we need it for that? I'll pop those in there. So that's got that kit down quite a bit, not as bulky, and we'll pop that into the box, but we'll pop that in the opposite way. So we've still got room for more kits. Then we still have January, so take everything out apart from the papers, and I'll start with the big, which is these gorgeous thickers. And take off the top. Now, of course, you keep hold of a bit of this packaging for the likes of the packaging technique and things when you're creating. But when you're on a big storage, tidy up, straighten up, you find that you have gazillions of them. And there's always a little baggie available if need be. So we're going to pop the thickers. And this is great for when it does come to the end of my kit, especially with the thickers, because by doing it all now, as I box everything up and as I'm having a sort out, it means I won't just put the thickers away without putting them in their own packaging, which is so tempting. So tempting. So there we go, that's the thickers. So that doesn't necessarily save space, but now the overlays, I don't think they're taking up a lot of space, and to actually take them out the packaging would cause more mayhem, so we'll leave them in. We've also got some puffy stickers, and again, this isn't saving much space, but it's a job that I tend to do when I get the kit out to mess with anyway. So by doing it straight off, it saves a bit of time later while I'm on an organisation freak out at the moment. But that'll be because I can't move in my craft room. Then we do have the Christmas gift, which I'm not sure whether I'll use with this kit. This was our Christmas gift from Nicola. And how far past Christmas are we now? But I'm still going to pop those in, just in case. And then for the ephemera, I've printed out my label ready, just because I knew this kit was coming up. This is as organised as I've got. So we're going to pop that on. I did wonder, I was thinking about getting some more of the really useful boxes, which is what I keep my kit in. And I was thinking of doing a few kits, you know, adding the stash and flipping between kits. I still may do it. However, these art bin totes are £4 each, and the really useful boxes I use for my kits are £10 each. And you know, while I am behind now, when I'm in full scrapping flow, I do tend to get through my kits, and I'm hoping that will come back, especially once I've got this new scrap space sorted. And I didn't know whether they'd become obsolete, whereas with these art bin totes, I can always move some of my Kaiser collections into them, or they can be used to store layouts. They just seem a bit more usable than having one box that's just got one kit's worth in. So that's January's kit, and I'm actually going to put that in the box the same way as February, just because that tends to flatten it out. And then lastly, this is where I currently store them, but I think I'm going to pop my completed layouts in here. Lastly, we have December's kit. How bad am I? So let's pull this all out again, and let's get December's kit into the boxes. And my next plan is to have a look at and possibly tackle my 6x6 pads. So quite often, especially from my recent purchase when I went to the Birds of a Feather event, I picked up the Pink Fresh Studio 6x6 pad and a couple of bits, but I didn't pick up anything bigger. So I didn't pick up any 12x12 papers or thickers. You know, not that they necessarily do thickers, I don't think, but I didn't tend to pick any of those up. So I don't really want them taking up a big art bin box when there's no 12x12 in. I want to use those and grab those for my project life more than a layout. Doesn't mean I won't create a layout with them, but when I'm thinking of scrapping, I'm thinking 12x12, which means that's what I'm going to grab first and foremost. So I'm thinking of looking at my storage for my 6x6 pads and things I have to go with them. But I'll keep you posted. If I find I'm doing something and it's working, I'll do like I've done now and start videoing when I'm nearer the end, so I can sort of show you what I've done and give you a bit of an insight into how it all happens. So all these stapling together, I've tended to do this with the embellishments that I also pick up to go with kits, with paper collections. And when I do tend to store stuff afterwards, it also tends to store in the same way. So I'm not stopping myself from storing stuff later. I'm just getting it prepared earlier, if that makes sense. So I've got two pieces now that will need to go in baggies. So when I find where I dumped my label maker, let's get these done. So we'll delete off the 1 canoe 2, and then I tend to skip past my little dash just because I'm lazy. And then I do like my capitals and smaller when it works. So crate, capital P, paper, and we are on Snow and Cocoa. Now if I'd have remembered what was in this kit, I could have done this when I actually put the Snow and Cocoa away. Symbols and cocoa. So that's printing off my Snow and Cocoa. Pop those, try and keep the glitter at bay. Now normally with my ephemera, as many know, I tend to print off the back, but seeing as there is only a couple of pieces in this, I don't see the need as much. So we'll pop that in a baggie for Snow and Cocoa. And then we have My Mind's Eye Sugar Plum. Keep the capital S. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Mind's Eye. And then go across Sugar Plum. Sugar Plum. And then Going through these CD sleeves, I know that much. And again, we've got more glitter with this one. Are we going to have pieces that are too big? No, we just made it. And then get my little trimmer. I'm not sure if this is going to fit width-wise, but we'll find out. Nope. But it'll fit height-wise. Oh well. Let's not argue with that. Let's get it taped up because there is glitter everywhere. And we'll pop on that. My mind's eye sugar plum. Pop that in there. Move things out the way so I can find it, and then we'll pop this one into my kit box. Now that is getting dangerously full, which means I need to get creating. I can't have 2 kit boxes, that's just extreme. But yeah, I hope that's given you an insight into how you can store your goodies, especially if you purchase by collection. A lot of people just put them into baggies and you know, that works for them, that's great, but this is what works for me, and hopefully it will help you all out. But thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.